buddies everywhere. We've got the YouTube watchers, we've got the page watchers, we've got the Facebook group watchers. We are so glad that you guys are here. Tonight is just a little sort of like an impromptu beginners night per se. I have been super sick for like the past 2 weeks or so and not very present. So I wanted to come back and try to catch up on a lot of the things that I've seen. And I've been seeing a lot of questions recently from beginners, like, should I buy this? Or I'm trying to do this, but I feel like I'm not making any headway. I mean, there was a post yesterday by a woman. I don't remember her name, but she was just feeling really defeated. Like she's gotten all this stuff. She keeps trying to buy things that are selling, but just her inventory is not selling. So that is what we are here to fix. All right. Let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me and all that good stuff. What is up, Raju? How's it going, Alicia? Awesome. All right. So I'll be going over some sort of basic concepts to think about when trying to decide. What's up, Diana? Diana? Annalicia? What is going on, guys? Yeah, so I'll be going over some Keepa stuff, some like basic Keepa tutorials, because I mean, there's a lot of people, we do these from time to time, but people miss them or people don't know where they are, or I don't know, maybe there's some nugget that I dropped this time that for some reason I like skipped last time, or the way that I say it this time like clicks in your brain. All right, so we'll be going over some Keepa stuff, some basic like should I buy this stuff, and then I'll be here for the next, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes or so. Just to kind of answer your guys' questions, to see how I can help you. All right. Okay. So let's talk about just at the like the most basic level, what makes a good buy a good buy. Okay. At its most basic, like if we really, really, really dumb this down, there are two factors that you need to think about. Okay. Is it selling and is it profitable? If both of those pass your test, there's a fairly good shot that it's going to be a good buy. If either of those fails the test, there is a near 100% chance that it is a bad buy. Okay. And from all of the people we've taught over the years, we've had this group for about 2 years now. And I mean, there's almost like 50,000 people in our Facebook group. There's like 25,000 YouTube subscribers. Like, there's a lot of people that I've talked to. And even before that, like back when I was just a regular old teacher teaching my friends how to do this, that like those two concepts, someone not fully getting one of those two concepts was by far the most common reason that people failed. I don't know why it's so common to get those two things, like for those two things to not be so ingrained in your brain. But the number of people that I would take, and I'm thinking back to like my school days, the number of times I would take a teacher out and they would go, I don't know, we'd go to like Ollie's or some like discount store like that. And they'd pick up something like, oh, wow, this is $1. That's great. Let's get it. But is it selling? Oh, I don't know. It's $1, Nate. Like, oh, it has to. Like, I'm sure someone will buy this. It's only $1. It's such a good deal. I can't pass this up. It's like, but is it selling? Is that item selling? If it's not selling, then it doesn't. Or another example, they would pick up like, I don't know, a book. Whoa, my gosh, this book is worth $800. Is it selling for $800? Yeah, see, it's listed for $800. No, it is listed for $800. It is not selling for $800. Huh? And like there's always like a disconnect there. So, is it selling and is it profitable? On the profitable side of things, it is very important that you look at your numbers. I know people who have sold quite a bit of stuff, and yet they don't know their numbers to the degree, like, yes, everyone should know all of their numbers, but even like at a basic level, like they are still buying things where when you scan it and you look at the fees, like their buy cost plus the fees is equal to their profit. That means that like there is no, or it's equal to their gross. All right. So that means there is no profit. They're making $0. They're doing all of that work to make $0 or sometimes negative dollars. Okay. Um, I I I don't get I don't know. My brain doesn't work like that. So I don't fully understand how that happens or why that happens. But I'm telling you, I've seen it happen, and because I've seen it happen, uh, this is your reminder. Make sure that you are making money on a product. It doesn't matter if it's selling, like, oh my gosh, this is selling a bajillion units a day. Okay, well, is it profitable? No, but I can sell it a million times. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so make sure that it is profitable. Make sure that it is selling. Let me see who all is here. We've got a ton of people over from YouTube. That's awesome, guys. Everything's sounding good. Awesome. What can you do when you feel defeated? I mean, that's a good uh it's a good question, but it's deep. For us, a couple things. Like figure out what is sort of like your why. And this can be like a grandiose, like my why is my kids. Like I want to have a stay-at-home job and I can stay home with my kids, raise my babies, all that stuff. I want to be able to retire early. That's like the major overarching why. But then there's also like some short-term whys. Like now I'm thinking back to when I first started. I've been doing this like 5 years now. All right, so thinking back to when I first started, like I wanted a stay-at-home business. I wanted to be able to quit my day job. Quitting your day job isn't like an overarching, this is my purpose in life, but it's a more like medium term, like this is my why. I want to quit my job. Okay. I My issue was not that like, oh my gosh, I've got all these bills that I have to pay in 2 weeks. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to start an Amazon business. Okay. I've told a couple people this over this past week. If that is your goal, this is a terrible, terrible business for you. Okay. You will not make money to pay your bills in 2 weeks starting an Amazon business. If you want to have some sort of like career changing or a long term thing where you can work for 12, 18, 24 months and not really need the money. Like you can just sort of do this on the side for that long in 12, 18, 24 months. You will have like a life career changing kind of business, but you need to be able to get that far without having to be like, oh my gosh, I've got all these bills I have to pay. Like I'm going to do this to do this. Like this is a long term play. If you're in this for the short term, probably not in the right spot. Yeah, Sheila is saying a lot of newer sellers like they get so excited when they're ungated, like, oh my gosh, I'm ungated. Yes, I'm gonna get all of this. Like, but is it profitable? Is it selling? Like it's just go back to the basics. All right. Um, Saving up to take one of your classes. Awesome. Yeah, we've got for those of you guys who don't know, we do have a couple like more in-depth classes. They're pretty affordable. We have like a Q4. Q4 is like this time around Christmas. We actually have a Q4 class. I'm gonna give away an entry to it before the end of this video. So towards the end. So stay with me till the end, and I'll be giving away an entry to the Q4 class. But even if you don't win it, I think I made it like $30 or $40. It's super super cheap this year. And that sort of shows you everything you need to know, like going into Black Friday and Christmas and all that stuff. So yeah. All right. What app do you recommend to tell what items are a good seller? Okay, so super, super common and super easy question. Also, by the way, Alexander, since you're coming from our Facebook group, it looks like, or is that Facebook page? I can't tell. But go to our Facebook group, the Hustle Buddies Facebook group, and go to the guides section and go to like the FAQ. All of like these beginner questions, like, oh, what should I use for that? What should I use for that? How do I scan stuff? How do I ship something? All that stuff is all in like the guides section. It just walks you through everything. Okay, just as a prerequisite. So if you're just starting, what you should use is the Amazon Seller app. You don't need to get any like fancy tools, things like that. Get the Amazon Seller app. That will tell you if it's profitable, and it will sort of tell you if it's selling. Okay. If you are like dirt poor and you have zero money, like you're starting with an individual account, you're just trying to sell stuff around your house to build up a little bit of stuff. That's all. That's the only requirement. Like you have to have a seller account and you have to have the Amazon Seller app. Okay, and it's all from Amazon. Okay. Now, the next tool that you should get for like figuring out is this truly selling? Because really, the Amazon app, the only way that it helps you know if something is selling is you can see the number of reviews something has. So if it has a lot of reviews, you can guess that it's most likely selling because how else would it get reviews? And if it has hardly any reviews, you can sort of guess that it's not really selling all that much. But those are both guesses. The better way is to use a tool called Keepa. Okay. Keepa is pretty affordable. I think it's they might have just upped the price. I think it's like 15 or $18 or euros a month. It's a European company, but Keepa is by far the golden standard. Every arbitrage seller that I know, eh, pretty much, uh, uses Keepa. The few people who don't use Keepa, I mean, it's like trying to cross the road with your eyes closed. Can you do it? Sure. Is it smarter to open your eyes when you cross the road? Yes, of course it is. Okay, and it doesn't really cost all that much. So yeah, so I'll be going through some Kiva stuff. Let me make sure I get through these questions real fast. Dark Angel from Canada, what is up? Canadian sellers and Keepa works in Canada as well. I've got a bunch of unopened DVDs, but can't get ungated. Okay, so one publicly, like public YouTube videos, things like that. As far as like hard to get ungating, can't help you there because part of the benefit of those things is that there is a little bit of barrier to entry, so it sort of keeps them profitable. And I don't want to ruin, like, if someone's whole gig is selling DVDs, that's a little bit niche and it's difficult to get. So I'm not just gonna like publicly spread that around. If you really want help, we've got like an insider group and all that stuff, and I will dive in, show people whatever. But publicly, we don't really help with ungating as far as those niched down things go. The other problem is just because something is unopened doesn't mean that you can sell it on Amazon. Because you need to prove that it's authentic. You need to, like, what if you sell, if you, let's say you get ungated and you sell all 400 of those, and a customer is like, hey, you just sent me a bootleg copy of Spider-Man, and Amazon comes and it's like, okay, well, you got to prove that this is not a bootleg copy of Spider-Man. Can you prove that it's not a bootleg copy? Do you have your receipts and invoices still? If the answer is no, then like the risk benefit ratio adds way out of whack because it is very easy to get kicked off Amazon if you can't prove anything. All right. Yeah, this person is saying they've sold over 10,000, but they haven't got. I don't know if that's $10,000 or 10,000 units, and they haven't gotten their initial 3K back. Yeah, so I mean that comes down. That usually comes down to one of two things. You're either like not looking at all of the data correctly and making bad buys on the front end, or you are spending way too much on overhead, sort of on the back end. Like you're paying for all these different tools when really you just got to cut the fat and just stick to inventory until you're profitable. All right. Let me go over. There's a lot of questions here, which is awesome, guys. I'm loving this. Let me go over some really, really, really basic Keepa stuff. I will be using a few extra tools tonight, but I want to show you also like the free beginner way as well, because I don't want to leave anyone behind. But I also want to go through this quickly. And the free way is not always the quick way. So because we're doing a live video, I will be using a few extra tools, and I'll tell you what they are. But just as a little prerequisite. So let me pull up the share screen. Oops, and hide that. All right. And again, if you guys have questions or issues, drop them down below, and I will try to get to as many as I can. Okay. All right. So let me show you guys a really simple example of something we're looking at. So here are some equate wipes. This is from Walmart. You guys should recognize this. All right. Now I do have a tool on my page. This is Rev Seller. You might also hear people talk about Ace and Zen. They're very similar tools. This just happens to be the one that I have on this computer. Um, this is pulling up all of this data very quickly for if it's profitable. That's what all of this stuff does for me because this is what I do for a living. Like, of course, I have expensive tools, and this is a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $100. I think I don't remember exactly, but there is a free way to figure this out. So every item on Amazon has something called an ASIN. The ASIN is like the Amazon signature identification number or something like that. It's this right up here in the URL. Also, you can find it by scrolling down, and it's right there where it says ASIN. All right, so I just pull it from the URL because I know what it looks like. It should always start with B0. Unless apparently it's a book. I learned that today. I think they use ISBN numbers, but anyways, so That is the number, and we can plug that into Keepa. Keepa also comes with a Chrome extension. So if you've bought in Keepa, this comes free with it. You should download the Chrome extension to Keepa because then you see this Keepa graph right here on your page. Now, graphs can be a little bit daunting to look at and figure out if it's been a while since you've been in school. Um, the first thing that everyone should do is click this button right here because when you first load up Keepa, it's going, in my opinion, it's going to be upside down. And about 99% of the community and content creators out there have it where 0 is at the bottom and high numbers are at the top. Okay, that's what makes sense to me. They also talk about like Keepa drops. When the sales rank drops, that's a good thing. If it's backwards, that doesn't make sense because a drop is going up, so it's a jump. So anyways, for the sake of your own brain to not be confused, I highly recommend pressing that little button right there to invert it. And let me just double check real fast that you can still see me and hear me because sometimes this gets messed up. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm good. All right, so we can see here that as of like today, let me scroll down a little bit. This has a bestsellers ranking, a BSR, of 2,794. This sales rank, this is what whenever you see us talk about sales rank, this sales rank is from this moment in time. This updates sometimes every 15 minutes, sometimes every hour, sometimes every day, sometimes once a week. All right. The more something is selling, the faster it updates, but it's just a blip of this moment in time. So right now, you see we're ranked at like this 2,700 mark. If if we had done this video October 1st, it would have been ranked up here at like 6,000. If we had done this in the middle of September, we're up here at 10,000. Okay. So it's not as important to look at the individual rank number because immediately the next beginner question is, well, what's a good sales rank? Okay. That is an impossible question to answer. There's there's not really such a thing as a good sales rank. What you want to see is sales rank movement because when the sales rank is moving, it means something is selling. The sales rank is basically where does this item rank compared to every other item in this category. So this is in the category of health and household. So right now, this is like the 2,700th best selling item in health and household on Amazon. Okay. That is a phenomenal place to be, but we might like the data might sort of be misleading to us, which is why we want to look at this. And I'll show you guys some examples of what I mean by that. But what we can see by this is it is moving all around. This sort of looks like maybe like a skyline, or I don't know, sometimes it'll look like an EKG. Okay. If it's moving all around, it's selling all the time. Do we know how many times it's selling? No, we have no idea. Don't bother looking at like, oh, what are the number of sales rank drops? No, no, no. That's yeah, like this. Oh, 94 drops per month. This is irrelevant. Please don't read this bit of data. That is that is so meaningless. It does not help you at all. Is this selling 94 times per month? No, this is probably selling like 5,000 times per month. Okay. It's just selling so much. When you get down this low in the sales rank, it's selling too often for sales rank drops to be all that meaningful. Okay. What is important is that it's moving all around and the sales rank you see, okay, yeah, it's pretty consistently around here. Now, let me show you guys some sales ranks that are not as good. I'm going to go over to Keep. Actually, it's a little bit hard to find this on Amazon. I use this example a lot. Teal Paisley tights. This is, did I misspell that? Yes, I did. This is a book a friend of ours wrote a while back. It's a good book. You should check it out and go read it. It's fiction. I'm gonna pull it up on Amazon here, so you can see the same exact little keep a graph. Give it just a second to load. All right, so when we look at this Keepa graph, and again, I'm actually, I should have said this before, I am turning off every single bit of data except for sales rank, just to make this really, really simple for you guys. Basically, the app is already telling you if it's profitable. And this is just beginner, like there's so much more advanced stuff that I could get into. I'm talking to you beginners, okay? The app will tell you if it's profitable. The sales rank will tell you if it's selling. I can see right now this is ranked about 1 million in books. Okay. It's like 900, 1.2 million. All right. If I told you, "Hey, any book that's ranked under 1,000,000 is a good buy, you should buy it." You would see this, let's say you see this at Goodwill, be like, "Oh, that's awesome." And maybe you see like 5 copies of it. Cool, I'm gonna get all 5 copies, all right? The problem with that is if we had had this exact same conversation back here on October 4th, the book is ranked 3.2 million. And you can look at this sales rank. You see how this sales rank is not moving up and down. It looks like a cliff with some random drops. So it's like just a giant hill. Boom, there's a drop. Boom, there's a drop. When there are this few sales, it is very clear when this book sold and how much it is sold. So I can see that this book, it didn't sell in November, it didn't sell in December, it didn't sell in January. And I'm not talking about these like little like, oh, it's like flat right there, it's high. No, no, no. Look at the big picture. This is going up, 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 up. This is not selling. Don't This dip is meaningless right here when you're this high. This has not sold at all. And then boom, it has sold one time. Or maybe a person bought a couple books. That's also sometimes the case. All right. So if you're at Goodwill and you scan it and it's ranked 3 million, and I tell you, hey, a rank of 1 million is good, you should buy them, and you buy all of it, or sorry, and you see it's ranked 3 million, you buy none of it. All right. And then you move on. Let's say you scan it the very next day. Well, the very next day it was ranked 283,000. Okay. And if in the back of your mind you're thinking, "Oh, under a million is good for books," and you see 283,000, wow, that must be selling all the time. I'm going to clear the shelf. I'm going to buy all of these. Well, you might have sold it one, maybe two more times here in March, and then you have not sold it since then. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, not a single sale in all these months. It looks like one person bought it there, maybe another person bought it there. So there's maybe two sales recently, if I was guesstimating. But this is not something that you should be clearing the shelf. If you're buying it for like a quarter and you're making $10 in it, sure, pick up a copy because it should sell, I don't know, within 6 months or something. But don't expect this to sell very fast at all. All right. So that's sort of a different view on a Keepa graph. Now, I asked a couple people in our Facebook group. By the way, if you're not a part of that, facebook.com/group/hustle buddies. Check that out. I asked some people in our Facebook group if they could send me some ASINs to check out to see if they were a good buy or not. So I had just a couple people, which is perfect because I didn't want too many. I'm going to pull up just a few of these and I will talk about if I like them or if I don't like them and why. And I might go into a little bit more information about Keepa. So that's at the most basic level. We're looking at sales rank using Keepa. If that is the only thing that you look at, and a lot of people like they get Keepa and they're like, oh, this is so overwhelming. If you feel completely overwhelmed, I am not exaggerating. Turn everything off except for sales rank. That's like 80 to 90% of all of the benefit of Keepa is this historical sales rank. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I see. Wait. What? Hang on a second. There's no way. Yeah, no. Okay, that's mine. All right, let's check this ASIN. So North American herb and spice, veggie capsules. Okay. And if you would scan this in the app, you see its reviews. So the first thing that I'm doing, I'm going to turn everything off up here. We're just looking at this little top rack. Okay. We're looking at this green bar. Is it moving? Does it look like a skyline or an EKG or something like that? Yeah, it sure as heck does. This is a beautiful looking skyline right here. Okay, we're looking at New York. Okay. So yeah, sure, it's ranked 50,000, but the number doesn't really matter to me as much as what does it look like? Is it moving up and down? Is this selling? Yes. Is it selling a lot? Yeah, it is selling a lot. Okay. Now, a couple other bits that I want to check out. I wonder if the person, okay, said their buy cost is 35.69. Sorry about that. I am still getting over being a little bit sick. So let's turn some of these other graphs on. So Amazon is not in stock. That's not really something that I personally care about. Other people are like, oh, I never sell when Amazon's on. I don't care. I sell that all the time. I turned on new. I'll turn on buy box. Most of this is the same information. Sometimes it'll differ a little bit. I tend to just leave it all on, but for the most part, it's the same or a very, very, very similar data point. So I am looking at the historical price now, this blue or sometimes purple line for the buy box. I'm looking for the historical price. Historically, since August, this has been selling for about $57. Okay. It drops down to maybe 40, 45, 48, somewhere in there back earlier this year. But for now, it's been selling for quite a bit. Let me zoom this out a little bit further. This is looking at a whole year now. So over the past year, yeah, the price is pretty consistent. It looks like there was like 10 sellers. Okay, let me go over this real fast. This bottom bar now. Let me turn off this stuff. New offer count. This is the number of other sellers on a listing. Okay, so I can see back here there is 10 sellers on the listing. It goes down to like 2 sellers, then no sellers for a while, and 3 sellers, 5 sellers, and so on. And it goes up and down. For the past, like since June, it's been about 2 sellers, maybe 3 or 4, sometimes one, but usually two. Okay, so the reason I want you to just briefly look at this, if there is consistently only one seller, don't bother touching that product. That is someone's personal brand. That brand is on the listing themselves, and they will fight dirty to get you kicked off the listing or kicked off Amazon. Okay, so if it's only one and consistently only one, just avoid it altogether. All right, guys. This one, for the most part, has more than one seller. So I'm going to take the educated guess that this is not like some private label thing where the brand themselves is on the listing and they're kicking everybody else off. You can do a little bit more research if you really want. Like you could sold by Recommerce. So Recommerce is different than North American Herb and Spice store. So it's like sometimes if it was matching, if North American Herb and Spice was the one sold, like sold by, I might avoid it. But this looks pretty safe as far as reselling. I believe the person on Facebook said this cost about $35. I'm gonna type it in there. Now, for the rest of you guys, this is a special tool. This is expensive. For the rest of you, what you can do if you are just starting and you're a beginner and you're like, oh, I can't, there's so many tools, I have to keep spending money. You can go, watch this Amazon seller fee calculator. Okay. This is just a Google search. Oh, look at that. Fulfilled by revenue calculator. It's this tab that I have right here. What you can do, this is in Seller Central. So we come right here. We pop it in right there. There's our ASIN. One day, maybe, maybe, maybe. It appears this is not wanting to work right at the moment. I'll use our flushable wipes as an example because I just had that. Ah, why isn't it working? It should pop up right here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my internet or what. But yeah, so it'll show you like all of the fees and everything right here. You can input your buy cost and all of that. So this takes longer. This is why I have this tool right here. Yeah. All right. So back to our thing in question. So this guy can buy it for $35, sell it for 55. He'll make about $8 on each one. The ROI is 20%, and it is selling pretty frequently. So I'm going to give you two slightly different answers here. This product, if you are like relatively established, if you're relatively established, uh, sorry guys, and you're not necessarily looking for explosive growth to your business, you're more looking for like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to work less, make the same amount of money with less time, and you're looking for replens. This looks to be a pretty solid replenishable item. Okay. And we've got a whole class. Like if you're like, oh, what's a replen? We've got a whole class about replens. It's stuff that you can buy over and over and over and over and over. You don't have to think about it ever again. If you can order a pallet of this and just be selling it for the next like 3 to 6 months and never think about it again, and you make $8 every time it sells, that's great. If you're a beginner and you're starting with a small budget and you're trying to grow, you're trying to turn this into a business, this type of product usually is not good, um, because as a beginner in the beginning, you really want those larger ROI numbers, you want more of that explosive growth. You want to find something that you can buy for $5 and sell it for $40. Like you want those kind of home run things. And as a beginner with a small budget, you can spend the time to find those home run products. Okay, so is this a good replenishable item for an established seller? Absolutely. Is this a good item for maybe a beginner who's sort of in that growth phase? Probably not. 20% or 23% ROI. That's pretty low. I recommend beginners, if you're in that growth phase, look for 100% ROI or higher. That does a couple things. One, like you're obviously turning your small amount of money into a much larger amount of money. 100% ROI is obviously better than 20%. Um, but it also gives you margin for if the price tanks or if there's unforeseen issues, things like that. I mean, maybe, yeah, this is selling for 54 right now, but when we were looking at it, it looked like sometimes the price went down to like 48. If the price goes down to 48, is it still profitable? What if it goes down to 45? Well, now you're losing a quarter every single time you sell it. So if the price starts tanking and you only have 20% margin and you're a newer seller and you don't really know what's going on, it doesn't really give you enough room to sort of outweigh some of the risk. Okay. Also, with beginners, I usually tell people like don't put a lot of money into a few things. Spread out your money. I would much rather a person buy 100 really cheap things and have 20 or 30 of those things suck and fail than buy like five more expensive things. Like, I mean, this is 35. It's not super expensive, but let's say you buy 10 of these. That's $350. That might be your entire starting budget. And then let's say like this fails somehow. Maybe it is a private label thing. Maybe there's some other issue that you didn't see. Well, boom, there's your whole budget, and you learned one lesson, don't buy this, instead of 30 lessons from buying a bunch of smaller things. All right, so that's my general recommendation with smaller things. But yeah, that was a good one, Wakar. Confused about why only one or two sellers, even though it's in the past a bunch of sellers. There could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe supply and demand. Maybe it's hard to find. Um, I usually don't care too much about IP stuff unless there's only one seller. But normal IP claims I can always fight off with receipts and invoices. Let me see. I think there was one or two more. This is a book. I'm gonna skip books for now because that was like the ISBN. All right, this is the other one that I wanted to go over. Missy, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Missy was the one that was writing a post in our Facebook group, just kind of feeling like down, feeling defeated, like she couldn't find uh, profitable things. I could be wrong about that, but someone was posting about that earlier. I thought it was her. All right, so all right, couple things that we're seeing here. Um, this is pretty consistently selling. Is it 33? Or is it? So here's one downside of Keepa. If someone knows like how to fix this, or if there's a way to like change the coding or something, let me know. But Keepa doesn't always do a good job of accounting for shipping costs when things are FBM. FBM means fulfilled by merchant. FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. When things are fulfilled by merchants, there's very often shipping fees that are involved since it's not Amazon Prime. FBA is always Amazon Prime. It's always free shipping to people. All right. So this is free shipping. It's $44. Okay. Let's look at this for a little bit. There are the is it selling question. So I see the sales rank. It looks sort of like a skyline. It's not selling a ton. Uh, like I'll just keep using the skyline example. Like the buildings are kind of fat. The buildings are kind of far apart. Um, this looks a little like when there's drops like this is a little more countable. Like let's say we look between March to May. I can guesstimate that this is one sale, this is one sale, that's one sale, four sale, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I can guesstimate that there's 14, maybe 15 sales, okay? And that's a reasonable guess when the sales rank looks like this, when it's that slow. When the sales rank starts to look like this, you can no longer really get that's moving too fast, okay? So you can't really tell back here. So this is selling some. It's not flying off the shelf, but it's selling. They said their buy cost was 14.99. All right, so let's punch that in. Again, you can use the free way to do this over here. This revenue calculator, or there's so many like Chrome extensions that can do things like this. There's lots of ways to accomplish this. All right. So you're buying it for 14.99. You are making 12.76. So your or 12.96. So your ROI is 86%. So is it selling? Yeah. Is it profitable? Uh, that looks decently profitable. So it passed those first two checks. Let's look to see if there are any other like weird red flags or things. So the price is pretty consistent. Sometimes I would look at the price and I would see like it's trending down, or it just now shot up. Like maybe normally it's selling for like $14 and today it's selling for 40. Like, well, you're probably not going to get 40 for it. It's probably going to go back down. This is pretty consistent, so no red flags there. The new offer count, there are usually multiple people on it, so it's not like a private label thing or anything like that. I'll see. Let me check review count. Now we're getting a little bit more advanced. If I'm talking over your head, remember, if everything's going over your head, just go back to the basics. Just look at the sales rank, okay? But with that said, we can look at the review count. If something is getting reviews, and obviously it's selling. I like to guesstimate about one review per 100 sales. It's not perfectly accurate, obviously, but that gives you a ballpark to work off of. So let's say it's sold between there. So boom, 100 sales, and then 100 more sales, maybe 200 sales, and another 100, 200, another 100, 200, another 100. So yeah, this is selling a decent amount. It looks like it's a newer thing, but mm, all in all, would I buy this and test this? Yeah, I probably would. I mean, it's not too expensive, so sure. I think that one seems fine if you're trying to sell that. Um, yeah. Now, all of my calculations are being done FBA. If you're selling this FBM, you'll have to figure out your shipping cost and all of that. I can hold up this little thing. My program is telling me that it's estimating that this is going to cost you about $10 to ship. Your referral fees are going to be about $5, and then your buy cost, obviously. So your margin would be a little bit higher if all of this holds true. But again, that's depending on your shipping and all that stuff. We've got lots of videos on our YouTube about shipping, but yeah. So that's sort of a Keepa basics overview. Let me jump back into chat here. I'll pull my face back up, nice and big, and I can start trying to go through some questions. If there's any questions about those specific ASINs or Keepa or other beginner stuff, let me know, and I'll try to help you. Also, okay, so let me do this for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. I'll go through all of the questions up until now. I see a what's up. All right, so that's where sort of like I'll stop, and I'm gonna do a little giveaway for our Q4 class once I reach that. That'll be my eyeball marker. All right, let's see. Do, 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 do. All right, so this person is selling stuff, but they are not making profit. That's probably a fixable issue. I find stuff that has a higher ROI on it instead of just kind of settling for stuff because it's easy as a beginner, especially. It's like I feel like I'm gated in everything. Or oh, here's something that I can finally sell. Oh, it only makes $2, or it only makes 20% ROI. I'm gonna go for it because I can sell it. I'm so sick of scanning stuff. All right. You can get into that trap of sort of settling for bad buys because you feel like you have to spend your money. Don't fall into the trap. Hold out, find something with profit. Um, you could also be buying things where the price just keeps tanking a lot. Um, Sometimes it's like, well, this said it had 100% ROI. Like everything I'm buying is like 100% ROI, but I keep selling it for way less and I'm not making any money. Okay, well, look at maybe take a closer look at Keepa. Look at like the historical price. Is it usually the same? Is this like a weird fluke that the price just dropped? Can you hold out? Like maybe the price is fluctuating, and when it fluctuates down, you're like, "Oh man, now I got to sell it for 19.99 instead of 29.99." And so you drop your price, but if you had just held it for a week or two, it would have popped right back up, and you could see that in the Keepa chart that it just kind of fluctuates. So Those are some of my recommendations. Or look at your overhead stuff. Like, are you paying for a bunch of tools that you're not really using? First Q4, what should you not do? Uh, you should not pre-order supplies. You need to have as much, like all the poly bags and boxes. I recommend doing FBM. If you're not doing FBM, you are making a mistake this year, in my opinion. Well, you should be doing both, but don't skip on FBM. So yeah. Hey, Alicia, can I get some water? Um, so yeah, get all the supplies you need, like your garage or office, whatever. You should have stacks of boxes and labels and extra stuff. It's so hard to get stuff during Q4. You don't want to run out of anything. I'm talking about pushing through 10K months. I mean, do what you're doing, just do more of it. If you're not paying yourself and 100% of your profits are getting rolled back into the business, where's your profit going? Like, is your business bank account just getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Or are you not profiting? Or are you like paying yourself and you're kind of like crippling your business in the meantime? Usually there's something going on there. I would also say hire prep help. We have an insiders group where we work with like more advanced sellers, with people who are selling 10K or more per month. Like that's the minimum cutoff, people selling over that per month. So if you're interested, check that out. But I talk with people all the time in there. Hire prep help. Oh my gosh, everyone needs to be hiring prep help if you're doing those kinds of numbers. Sheila Q4 says super informative and definitely worth it. Awesome. Yeah, asking about if it works in Canada. Yep, everything we do, it's like there's nothing that's different about the Canadian market than the American market. You might not have, I don't know, a Kohl's nearby, but like I teach concepts. I'm not being like, go to this one, with the exception of our Kohl's course, but it's like go to this one store and buy this one item, and then if you're overseas, like, well, you're out of luck. Everything we do is conceptual. What shipping company do I prefer? Whatever is the cheapest. Amazon will tell you. Does not matter to me. All right, and so I'm going to show you guys a quick comment. I'm showing this so that you can see what not to do. Okay. So first, if you're like a virtual assistant like this, don't comment on random videos, because that's just, I block like 50 people a day from our Facebook group that try to spam things like this. Okay. So first off, this person won't ever be a part of our Facebook group, and they're not welcome. Secondly, if someone's like, oh, this guy can help me with drop shipping. Oh, I've heard of drop shipping. Maybe I should try drop shipping. No, you should not try drop shipping. Drop shipping breaks the rules of Amazon. It breaks the rules of Walmart. Anyone who's like, oh, I can do drop shipping for you, or I will make this drop shipping automated business, or I am sure, 100% sure, if you have ever typed in the phrase how to sell on Amazon, for the next 6 months, your Facebook and YouTube ad feed has been full of build you an automated Amazon, or we'll build you an automated Walmart business, guaranteed profit, 100% money back, blah 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 blah. Like 100% of the time, this they're telling you half truths. 100% of the time, because what they're doing, like their type of drop shipping, 100% of the time is not allowed on any platform. Amazon, Walmart, whatever. We see people kicked off all the time. Oh my gosh, I just spent $30,000. Someone set up this automation business and now my account was deleted. What do I do? Like, well, you are out of money. You shouldn't have been as gullible. All right. Don't pay someone $30,000 to do something that is, breaks the rules. Okay. All right. So let's move on to real questions. Hopefully no one here tries retail dropshipping. Now there are ways to do something slightly different. That's not. I'm not even going to go into it, because if you're doing it correctly, you're doing it correctly. You don't need to argue. Oh no, drop shipping is like. Okay, I understand you. I'm talking to beginners, and even mid-sized set. Like, don't do drop shipping. The Amazon sellers, does not show all the shipping costs. It doesn't show FBM shipping cost, but it shows all FBA shipping costs if your settings are correct. You need to make sure you go to your settings, and you need to make sure that you have input in your settings. So it's like you go to the top left, it's settings, manage. I don't even know. It's in there somewhere. Let's say you try to sell one mason jar. Shipping is not going to be 50 cents to send this. It's going to be like $7. Okay. Now, if you try to send like a, a bunch of cases of mason jars, yes, your shipping will probably be more like 20 or 30 cents. Okay. So it goes down the more that you're shipping. Uh, Estimate that a box is going to cost you like $7 and then an additional like 20 to 50 cents per pound. So in general, you should be sending enough stuff to fill a box. So like the total box cost is mostly irrelevant. That's why I tell people to sort of estimate 50 cents. What does ungated mean? There are a lot of things that as a beginner seller, you will not be allowed to sell on Amazon. It'll say like you're restricted from selling this product or you're gated from selling this brand or something like that. It just means you're not allowed to. There are ways to get ungated and unrestricted. We have whole YouTube videos about how to get ungated. Like the videos about grocery, but it works for so many different things. And that's another reason, like I'm not going to go into specifics because I've laid out the framework. Here's how to do it. Now, if you want individual things, oh, I want Nike. Oh, I want DVDs. Like you're gonna have to put in the legwork to figure those types of things out. But I've given you the framework. It's all over on YouTube. Yeah, and this person is talking about replens here. Like they sell one item, they sell it 10 times a month. They make $8 an order. It's not a whole lot, but $80 every single month. I mean, that's like what is that? Nine? Am I doing my math right? 960 a year. Um, Almost $1,000 a year that they're making just from one little product. If you can find 30 products like that, 30 boring replen products like that, you're making 30 grand a year. That's what most teachers make. You're making a full-time teacher salary. And all it took was finding 10 products like that. So it's a long game. And that's the slower method. We're talking about replens. It's not like explosive growth. As a beginner, I still recommend explosive growth. But if you're sort of at this phase, like I want to find just a few things. I don't want to work a whole lot. I don't need explosive growth. I just need to find a couple solid base hits. Replens are fantastic. That's the majority of our business now is all replenishable stuff that I don't really have to think about. That's why, like when I say I work less than 5 hours a week on my Amazon business, I'm not lying. I used to spend like 80 hours a week on my Amazon business, but right now I've already built my sort of empire. I have my employees, I have my systems, I have my automations in place and all that stuff. So I'm not lying. Now I'm not going to say it's easy. Like, oh yeah, everyone can work five. Eventually, yes, everyone can work less if that's what they want. You can form your business to work like that. But at the beginning, oh, it's grueling. It's a grind, man. You're working so much, and you're probably paying yourself nothing. Because I was working like all that time without paying myself anything. So imagine working like 40 to 80 hours a week for $0 an hour. Can you do that for 12 months? If you can, you're gonna do some crazy stuff. And if you can't, that's fine too. The world needs lots of different kinds. Ooh, I like this. This is a little more upper level thinking. So, what's your sourcing workflow from the moment you enter the store? Order of operations from scanning to deciding to toss it in your cart. I think folks been juggling a few apps. So you only need two things. Is it profitable? Is it selling? Okay. Um, whichever one of those you can rule out the fastest, that's probably the best way to start. So I would recommend you start with, if you're a beginner, like the Amazon Seller app. If you want to upgrade, so Keepa is like number one tool. Tied for first place is another tool called Inventory Lab. And that gives you a free app called Scoutify 2, which shows you a little bit more data on the front end. But whichever you're using, whether it's Scoutify 2 or the Amazon Seller app, I would start there to see, is it profitable? And also you can see a ballpark, like, is this worth my time? Do I think this is probably selling based on either the sales rank or the number of reviews it has? Like if I scan a grocery item and I see that the grocery item is ranked 1 million, I'm not going to pull it up in Keepa. It's ranked a million. Like it's unless it's like the middle of, I don't know, April, and this is like Christmas candy and it's ranked a million, like okay, I might look at Keepa then because there's some reason. but you can sort of use deductive reasoning. Don't bother with that. So see if it's profitable. Scan it in the app. Is it profitable? Yes. Okay, sweet. Check if it's selling. Do you see the sales rank? Does it look like it's worth your time to do more research? If you have Scoutify 2 and you scan it and you see, okay, it's profitable, there's one little button that says Keepa. So you just press the button to go to Keepa and it pulls up the item in Keepa. So you're not like retyping in any numbers or anything like that. That's why we love it. Okay, so you press your little Keepa button. Is the bar moving? Awesome. All right. So it passed those two tests. Do you see any other big red flags right away? You can, the amount of time that you spend on that is totally up to you. Okay. Uh, but that process for me, so let me see. Got my app here. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, 1,000 profitable, 9, 1,000. Keep it. Keep it looks good. All right. So if I'm getting this for $0, and if all things are like, if I'm allowed to sell that, I think that's like flammable and stuff. But if I'm getting that for $0, it's profitable. Is it selling? Keepa said it was. Boom, in my cart. All right. Um, when you're looking for something replenishable, like, so let's say this is $0 because it's on crazy clearance, the store is giving it away. Cool. I'm doing much less research on an item that I'm only buying one of. If I am buying like a pallet, so like I've got mason jars from a while ago. If I'm buying a lot of something, I'm doing a lot more research. All right, so save your invoices and receipts. Just take a picture of it and save it. Save it to something. Where did you take it? How did you take the picture? Did you take it on your phone? Do you delete? Like, just use an old phone that you never delete pictures of. You don't. I don't. I think a lot of people also. I've heard this question a lot, and I guess I don't quite understand what trips people up. Do you like delete pictures from your computer? If, like, let's say you take a picture and you save it to your phone or you save it to your computer, you shouldn't need to really delete stuff ever. So it should just exist forever. My workflow, I have a fancy scanner. Again, I do this full time, so I have big boy tools. You can do things the free way. My way is I have a fancy scanner. I scan it into my computer. I have a whole folder, and I name the file the store and the date. And I might put like A, or I might put like 1.0 or something like that, in case I'm hitting, like, let's say I hit 10 Walmarts in a day, so it's like, let's say this is October 10, or Walmart October 10A, Walmart October 10B, Walmart October 10C, and so on and so on. And I just have them all in a big folder on my computer. But uh, that's that's pretty easy. What repricer do you recommend to use? This completely depends on where you are at in your business. If you are a small seller, and we have a whole blog post about this. I've done lots of posts. If you're a smaller seller, also we have coupons for everything. So search our group because we have links and coupons to everything that'll save you money. But if you're a smaller seller, probably something like Be Cool. It's sort of one of the lower end things. Um, mid-sized seller, Aura works pretty well for most mid-sized sellers. If you're a larger seller, when I say larger, I would say probably doing 20, 30,000 per month, or higher. Then I would recommend using something called Seller Snap. There is a third one we've been testing out with some of the insiders called PPP, Profit Protector Pro, that looks promising. Um, and it's not quite as expensive as Seller Snap, but those are the ones that I like. Don't use the Amazon one. And like, if you see a repricer that costs you like 15 or $10 a month, don't bother. That's not worth. No, it's doing something that it probably shouldn't be doing. Uh, Winfo you have. I'm not quite sure what that is. Yeah, someone was asking. So yes, you can rewatch it later. I am laughing because that same VA. I wonder if I probably can't ban him from here. Oh, block user on YouTube. There we go. I had to block list on. Yeah. What in the world? That same VA is like, oh yeah, sometimes you get shut down, but I can just close the account and open a new one. Don't break the rules and you won't get shut down, silly. Oh goodness. All right, so there's the what's up guy. That's I will go over a few more questions, but I want to do a little giveaway. All right. If you want to be entered into the giveaway in chat, whichever chat you're in, give me a, let's see, what should we type? Um, in all caps, type something like "pumped for Q4" or something similar to that. Okay, it's got to be all caps though. That's the key. It has to be all caps. Something like "pumped for Q4." Write that into chat. I'll give it like a minute or two for chat to kind of go through, and I will be giving away. I'll show you guys what I'll be giving away. I'll be giving one person entry into our Q4 group. Let me share my screen while I do this. All right. So this is our website in case you guys haven't checked it out, hustlebuddiesofficial.com. This is where all of like our much more in-depth paid like coaching, mentorship, in-depth classes, workshops, all that stuff. That's where this stuff all resides. If you click on all classes, you can see all the different things that we've got. And we've got this Q4 one. That's the one that we are talking about right now. This Mastering Q4 one. So what I did basically, we made this last year. There really aren't a whole lot of changes that happened between last year and this year conceptually. And remember, I mostly am teaching concepts. There's a few like, hey, check this out for Black Friday. So a few of those things didn't carry over. Instead of me redoing the entire thing just to add like a few of these little like, hey, check this out for Black Friday. I we've got a new baby and all that stuff. So I'm spending my time with my family. I would rather spend more time with my family and not bother redoing this yet. We'll probably redo it in the future. But we just made it 75% off for this year. So instead of like 150, it's 40 bucks, 39.25. All right. This will go over lots of different things. You can scroll down here. This is like the little curriculum. So what to expect. We talk about how to get engaged in toys, getting your ducks in a row, like account health, pricing, all that stuff. Black Friday, running PPC campaigns, repricing, arbitrage, online, blah, 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 blah. Requirement changes, what to do in Q5 and beyond, etc., etc. So that is all there. That's what we are giving away. I'm going to pick one person from chat who will get it. The rest of you guys, you are welcome to sign up for that. Again, we tried to make it pretty stinking affordable. 39 bucks is about the cheapest Amazon class that you'll ever see offered. Yeah. All right. Let me see. I'll have to go back to that "what's up, everybody" thing. All right. Pump for Q4 pump. Awesome. There's a bunch of people here. Okay. All right. I am going to, let's see, I'm going to start there. I'm going to close my eyes and wiggle my mouse a little bit, and then I'm going to try to point to the screen, and we'll see where my finger lies. Okay. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now I'm going to look at you guys and put my finger right on this name right here, and it is Annalicia Alvarez. All right. Whoops. Annalicia Alvarez. All right. So, Annalicia, what I want you to do, hopefully, I might be saying your name wrong. I probably am. My wife has a similar name, and everyone pronounces hers wrong. And Alicia, I want you to join the Facebook group. If you're not, join our Facebook group. So facebook.com/group/hustlebuddies. You can see my Facebook profile. Try to add me as a friend and shoot me a PM on Facebook. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And just tell me who you are and that you were the winner from the YouTube Q4 giveaway. All right. Awesome. All right. Let me thanks for joining, guys. Let me see if there was any other. I'm sure there were. I can do just a couple more. I've got to jump off here because I'm also doing a live video in our insiders group. If you are interested in joining the insiders, if you're doing over 10K per month and you want to join more advanced sellers, get more advanced help, more one-on-one attention, all that stuff, check that out. Do a search in our main group and you can see a post about joining in there. And I've got to jump over there to do some videos tonight as well. So I can't stay on here forever. Okay, there's the "what's up." There we go. Can't we see the sales? I don't know what that question means. Are you, do you wholesale? I am. I do some wholesale. Yes. Everyone should do some of everything, in my opinion. Like, let's say that you are just selling a bajillion of these Germexes. Like you're getting these from Walmart, and you're like, man, I'm going through like 100 of these a month. Okay, so go up the food chain, cut Walmart out, and just go to Germex. See if you can order a bulk pallet. See if you can order bulk mason jars from somebody. All right. So everyone should eventually do some. It doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm only wholesale. I don't do arbitrage anymore. I don't. It doesn't really need to be like that. You can do whatever, however you get your inventory is how you get it. I have good buys, but never really get the buy box. So you need to be priced competitively is the main thing. I would recommend having a pro account. I would recommend that your items be FBA. We have a whole video on YouTube, like what are the contributing factors, how to win the buy box. There are so many different factors and so many different little nuances to it. I I can't tell you like, oh, if you just do this and this, you will always have the buy box. It's just not that simple. The main thing, stay price competitive. I would recommend just matching whatever the buy box is. Have your stuff available. FBA gets it more, and pro accounts. Those are the three main things. If you've gotten those down, maybe look at getting a repricer or something like that. But yeah. Beginner with a big budget, would you skip bras and buy pallets or go through the process to learn as a beginner? I would definitely recommend you go through the process. I mean, there's been posts. So there's two people in our group. Um, they've talked about this so much. I'm sure that they're fine. So there's Sherry and I think it was Brenda was talking about this. They started about the same time. Brenda had a pretty big budget. She did not. Okay. Sherry did not. Now they're selling about the same, and the problems that you face is like when you just it's like, oh, I'm just going to get big pallets, like you're not really getting better deals, you're not really making more money, your mistakes are costing you more money, you're learning fewer lessons, you get way lazier with the whole thing. Like there's not really a reason to just, oh, I'm just going to go skip the boring stuff, go right to pallets. Like I am a seven-figure seller, and most of what I do is still either in stores or going online. I get some pallets, but that's not a large portion of my business. It's not like, well, that's only for beginners. It's only for small sellers. No, that's not true. Some people say that if they're trying to like sell you on a wholesale course or something like that. Can you make $1 million with wholesale? Of course. Can you make $1 million with retail arbitrage? Of course. Can you do it with online arbitrage? Of course. Can you do it with private label? Of course. Like there's so many different ways to make money on Amazon. Arbitrage is the easiest way to learn. You will learn the most in the least amount of time for the least amount of money. You might as well make cheap mistakes rather than expensive mistakes. So yeah, from Alaska, FBM is not an option for me. So it is more difficult. I'm not going to say that it's not more difficult, but I do know people who do FBM from Alaska and FBM from Hawaii as well. FBM is fulfilled by merchant. The next person asked, fulfilled by merchant. That's where like maybe I keep this in my garage and then when a customer buys it, I'm personally putting it in a little package and I'm personally shipping it to the customer. FBA is where I would send this along with its brother and its sister, and I would send all three of these to the Amazon warehouse, and then when a customer buys it, the Amazon warehouse fulfills the item and ships it to the customer. FBM is hard. I still don't get it. My question for you, do you do FBA? Because FBA as a concept is much more difficult than FBM. So if you are capable of doing FBA, then you absolutely have the mental capacity to do FBM. They are different, they're different skills to learn, but if you're trying to compare apples to apples, FBM is significantly easier to learn than FBA. And if you've already learned FBA, you're already talented enough to do FBM. And we've got lots of YouTube videos about doing FBM. How do I vet my products for IP claims? This is another pretty common issue, and I'm a little bit different than a lot than some other sellers out there. I pretty much don't care. Um, so what if I get an IP claim? Then I just send Amazon the proof that I'm not stealing somebody's intellectual property, or I contact the brand, like I fight them. Uh, I've been fortunate. I have 100% been able to get rid of all of my IP claims, and I get a lot of IP claims, a lot, a lot. Mm, I mean, every other week, at least every week, sometimes multiple times in a week. Uh, they come, they happen, and I fight them off. So for me, I'm not too worried about it. I make intelligent choices. Like Okay, is this listing, is there only one seller? All right, they're probably going to fight dirty. They're not going to give up. Sometimes you just got to throw in the towel and move on. So I make intelligent choices. If you are super worried about it, then check out a tool called IP Alert. That's what a lot of people use. I don't personally use it because I don't personally care about getting IP claims. But the people who like that's like a large thing in the brain, like, oh no, I don't want to get an IP claim, which is totally fine, totally valid. You don't want to spend all your time fighting these legal things. Check out IP Alert, and that'll help you. Do you buy from 888 lots? No one should buy from 888 lots and sell it on Amazon because nothing from there can be authenticated by Amazon. So if Amazon says, "Hey, you sold us an inauthentic product, prove that it's real," you can't, and you're gone. Goodbye. There's your account. So do I buy from there? No. Should you buy from there? No. Should anyone buy from there? No, not for Amazon. Maybe for like eBay or some of those Facebook Marketplace. Like that's like the Wild West. They don't care what the heck you're selling. Amazon is a legitimate place though, and you need to be able to legitimately say where your stuff came from. 888 lots is not that. This is another good question. What if it's something that sells, but there's 50 offers? Again, not usually something that I care too much about because let me give you an example. And there was someone else who's like, oh, I made this perfect algorithm and it equates for this. And I was like, well, but what if I throw this little curveball in there? That's a common curveball. All right. So I'll use these cans again. So you find this can. All right, let's say this is like the black stain and this is like the walnut stain. Okay, so the black stain, it has 50 different sellers. It's like, oh, I gotta skip this. This one has 3 sellers. Ooh, this looks nice. All 50 of these sellers have one in stock. All of the sellers are just launched. And there's only maybe like 5 of them that are priced relatively competitively. Like 5 of them are trying to sell it for 20 bucks. And then the other 47 of them are trying to sell it for like $70. Okay. Should I care if there's 50 sellers? Probably not. Doesn't really matter. This, oh, wow, it's only got 5 sellers. All right. 4 of those sellers are priced competitively. 3 of them have over 1,000 in stock. Which of these has more competition? It's this one, the one where there's 3 people with 1,000 people in stock instead of 50 people with one in stock. So, is that something I usually look for? Not really. The only time I look for it is if there's like a drastic spike in something. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like consistently there's like 10 sellers, then all of a sudden in a weekend it goes to like 150 sellers. Like, okay, the price is going to tank on that. That's probably going to go down. Am I mostly doing wholesale now? No, I'm mostly doing arbitrage. I do wholesale when that's what I need to do in order to get the quantities that I need. Let's see. I'll do maybe 2 more questions and then I got to jump. Um, but hi, I am new and I've tried to get ungated in groceries. Any advice? Yes, I have a great piece of advice. It's go to our YouTube channel. Or you don't even need to go to our YouTube channel because I think we're like the #1 result on YouTube. Let me share my screen real fast. All right, so you're asking how to get ungated in grocery. How to get ungated in grocery. I think I'm the #1 choice. We'll see if I pop up as #1. I used to be. What? How to get ungated in grocery. Oh, there we go. Haha, yep, #1. All right, so all right, and I'll think maybe one more. I think that's where the pump for Q4 stuff popped in. Let me take that screen off. This is what an ace in Facebook group. I'm struggling to open trade accounts as I'm doing wholesale. Need guidance. Struggling to open trade accounts. It's a little bit more advanced. I'm gonna try to look for a beginner. We have a whole. Why is this not? There we go. We've got a whole like breakout section in our replan workshop about getting wholesale accounts. That's such a big rabbit hole. I can't like answer that in like a 10-second Facebook or YouTube question. That's a huge rabbit hole to jump into. Do I think it's safe to drop? No! Stop asking to drop ship. Drop shipping is not allowed on Amazon. They will ban your account. It is too easy to make legitimate money without breaking the rules. Hopefully I don't feel strong about that or anything. No. Don't drop ship. It's not worth it. It's not allowed. It's too easy to not do it. All right, let me see if there's anything else. There's a couple good questions. I'm skipping them because just they're a little bit more. Can I join if I'm a new? No, you cannot join an advanced group if you are a newbie. Because then it would become a newbie group and not an advanced group. There's a couple of really good questions, but I gotta go. I'm trying to find one. Oh man. That's funny that you got ungated that way. Sometimes Amazon they don't play by their own rules. You'll get by on things. I don't recommend what that person. It's funny. How do I join the 10K group? If you're in the Facebook, go to our Facebook group and just search for insiders, and you'll find information and links about that. I think as a final question, can you drop ship your boss across the country? Now, as an Amazon seller, you are the boss. So can you drop ship yourself across the country? I'm gonna say, yeah, definitely. You can do anything you set your mind to, man. That's what Eminem taught me. All right, I am gonna jump off here. I've got to go jump over to the insiders here in a second. So it was great seeing you guys again and chatting with you all. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're over there. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/hustlebuddies, and we'll see you out there. All right.